Commence primary ignition.
Jedi Master Luminara Mjuli in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and you're watching the virtual Cantina Network.
Thank you, Mary.
Man, I love Luminara. We've done our show about her, but like, I have a lot of Luminara, and
you would have loved meeting her. She's so sweet.
Maybe one day. I don't know. I gotta listen. One day when money isn't a concern, maybe I'll start going to shows again. I just get real shell shock at these big shows.
Oh yeah, real like MegaCon is mega nuts. So
that's a hard no for me ever again.
Oh yeah.
I'm like watching everybody freak out over tickets already for MegaCon 2025, and I'm like, not it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah. Well, hey everybody.
Hey squad, hey friends, hey fam. We're just gonna give it a few moments here to vamp and get everybody in the chat. Yeah. We're happy to be back. Sorry about a rerun. We're both going through things, so we definitely need a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, it's nice to have a voice again. I'm telling you, like, and making up for it by being on 3 shows this week. So
it's true. It's true. You have to see, like, that's the thing is I just get to kind of fly under the radar a little bit, which is kind of nice. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
But yeah, no, we're also a den of sickness right now. My child is,
no.
she's on the mend at this point. Like she was fine today, but yeah, we had a fever. We had a really fun sounding cough. We had all sorts of stuff. We're doing better now. So we're coming out of it.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So we are, hey.
Hi,
so we're here. Mm-hmm. We got a fun topic tonight, which is so weird, right? Because like, I'm going to be fully candid, and maybe you'll feel the same way. I have not thought about Battlefront in a minute.
Yeah. When I was living in Ohio, it was like it had just come out, so it was really big. And my roommate would spend hours, absolute hours, like all day, all night playing this game. And it's a lot of fun, and there's some crazy stuff to see, but yeah, we're gonna get into what exactly Aiden has been doing all this time and the Star Wars. So
she ladies and gentlemen, she is a Star War. I mean, she's been through it, but we're going to get to that. We'll definitely pop in on that because we've got lots of thoughts and lots of, observations, lots of stuff going on with Iden Versio. Once again, if you're joining us, if you haven't already connected your Facebook, make sure you do that just so we can see your names. Because as you know from previous shows, we are really invested in the chat. So, for as much as we want to talk, we also want to hear what y'all have to say.
Yeah, we want to hear your favorite Iden moments, as Marcus put in the chats. Tell us your favorite moments from Iden and Battlefront 2 and her escapades in the comments. So
yeah, so we definitely want that. And then so before we get started, it's been another sort of wild and crazy week for Star Wars. Listen, anybody who's like, oh, we don't get enough Star Wars content, I don't think you're paying attention, because like there's a lot of Star Wars stuff that just seems to always happen. My favorite bit of news this week. No, go ahead. Go.
No, I was going to say, as our resident park person on this show.
Oh my God. Okay. Listen.
You need to discuss.
The scream I scrumped, as the children say, as the youths are saying, when they finally gave us the dates for Star Tours. So we're getting scenes from Andor, we're getting scenes from The Mandalorian, and we're getting scenes from Ahsoka. And listen, all I care about is that Diego Luna is going to talk to me in Star Tours. That's all I care about. I don't listen. I'd
Hey,
do
you know
anything
what
for that
he
man.
does to rebel spies?
I would, I would do
saying.
anything.
We
That
saw
man
that.
says go on a murder mission. I said absolutely, Cassian Andor, whatever you want. Thanks, Spencer. It's grown out, so I appreciate that. It's my reverse Sabine Wren hair because my stylist, who is lovely, who I absolutely adore, messed up the dye and got it backwards, so I have reverse Sabine Wren hair. I don't know. Listen, I would let Cassian shoot me if I was the rebel spy, which is probably not a healthy mindset, but I love that man. Anyway, I already booked my park pass. I have to go after like my kid goes to bed because she's too little for Star Tours.
So when does that start? Tell us when that starts.
April 5th, if I'm not mistaken. April 5th. So like
a month
soon.
from now. Yeah.
And Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and Disneyland Paris, we're all getting new scenes, which they announced a while ago. We were all kind of just like waiting. I'm kind of surprised it took this long. Like I knew they had to get through Ahsoka airing to obviously like not spoil anything.
To delve into that, yeah.
But yeah, I am ready. I'm ready. Yeah, I am ready for Star Tours. It's truly in like my top 5 favorite attractions anywhere ever. I love Star Tours. They did start releasing, so it would not surprise me, and I have to keep an ear to the ground if cast members have already gotten a little sneaky peeky, because I know when they revamped Star Tours and I was still a cast member, I got to ride it before the park opened, like a couple days before they released it to the public, and they were very, very serious about non-disclosures. So it would not surprise me. I know the Purgles are, spoiler alert, Purgle scene from Ahsoka is one of the scenes.
Girls? Yeah.
Little space whales. I hope one of them just eats you, just like does that whole munch thing where you
Attention
ride around
all passengers, let the Purgles eat you.
I
love that scene in the Marvels. It was so crazy, and I absolutely love that. Let the Flurkins eat you. Do not run.
My favorite thing about Star Tours as I think about like these new scenes from all over the timeline is that Star Tours is literally just like, timeline? Where we're going, we don't need no timeline. And it's,
right?
It's great. It's not going to make any sense. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's totally unhinged and it's great. And
I never get sick of it. And because every time I've been on it, it's been something different. So
I mean, I've been physically sick because of it, but that's what happens if you ride Star Tours like 8 times in a row. Don't do that.
Take some Dramamine, kids.
Having said that, catch me riding Star Tours 8 times in a row on April 5th. Or, yeah, April 5th.
Bring Jamie a bucket. She's just gonna be like, again. I'll just go loop
honestly,
around.
I always knew that if I was going to die at a Disney park, which is still a strong possibility, it would be Hollywood Studios. I mean, I almost caught fire there once, so like, why not just like go all in? Yeah, that's what happens when you work an attraction that needed to close way sooner than it did. Love you, great movie ride. Anyway, so that's a big bit of Star Wars news. What other Star Wars news did we get this week, Ashley? Tell us.
Mark is like, who else thinks they will die at a Disney park? Tell us below.
That's a very niche icebreaker.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die in Rise of the Resistance. Like Kylo Ren is just gonna like lean forward at me, point, and then land on my car.
So yeah, what's he gonna do? Just fall off his platform? Sorry, that's really inappropriate. I don't work for the company anymore. I would like to go back to working for the company, so I should probably like keep it.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, we're done.
Keep it civil.
With that. But anyway, big things that happened this week. First of all, on a kind of sad note, we have lost another member of the Star Wars family, puppeteer and voice actor Mark Dodson, the voice of Salacious Crumb, most notably, Gremlins actor, just fantastic puppeteer. He passed away over the weekend at the age of 64. So condolences to his family, friends, and everyone that has worked with him in the Star Wars universe. Mark was a really funny guy. You could always tell when he was at a con because you like randomly hear Salacious Crumb laughs all the way down the aisle in every ballroom you're in.
That's what you want to hear at a con.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so cool. And it just brings you back to like the first time you saw, Return of the Jedi and got to see that little quacky monkey lizard causing chaos. So
that's like peak Star Wars for me too. Like
totally.
anything that happened in Jabba's palace is like peak Star Wars, just unhinged, batshit crazy Star Wars for me. So like that's a sad one.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's for sure a sad one.
he was in Indiana for a con that he was over the weekend, but he passed away in his sleep. So condolences to his daughter and his family. Um, may the force be with him, and he is one with the force now. So yeah, pretty
Yeah,
sad.
it's sad because like he was young,
Yeah,
but also like the further we march away from the original trilogy,
yeah.
the more we're seeing this happen, which is it's
Putting
hard for Star
everyone
Wars fans, hard for their
in
families and
bubbles.
everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
seriously, protect them, protect them. Um, well, in the spirit of the happy sad happy sandwich, we'll end our news updates, I guess, with another big release that happened yesterday. Star Wars: The High Republic: Defy the Storm came out yesterday.
and what page are you on, Jamie?
I'm on page 88. I started reading literally an hour. I started it at like 7:15 and then had to stop at like 8:15 to get ready for the show.
Mhm.
So I've made it about 88 pages in, and in 88 pages I have cried thrice and yelled 4 times. So
Dang.
very peak High Republic experience for me. Um it's it's the most comforting thing to slide back into that story and to see those names on those pages again, and to
Yeah.
get updates on all your favorite characters after the big tragedy that happens in phase 1. So it's definitely a emotional roller coaster, and
Mhm.
I think when you're lucky enough to really connect with characters and stories the way that people like me have connected with the High Republic, um we're on this trajectory to the end, and it's every page turn is a little bit of a nail biter. So
Oh.
um I'm psyched. I couldn't be happier. Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland penned this one together. They are both lovely and so talented, and it's oh man, it just we love it. We love to see it. I'm really really
Yeah.
happy. Oh yeah, and
Thank you,
I
John.
did see that. Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're not only releasing on home video, but I think they're actually getting steelbook releases.
Absolutely.
Um,
Disney has been doing that a lot with Disney Plus shows. So they did
mhm.
it previously with Loki and WandaVision, and now they're starting to branch into the Star Wars books. Oh, and Mandalorian. They did
Yeah,
that on Steelbook. So yeah, I have to get me some Steelbookies because I am a huge proponent of physical media because
own your media.
I don't trust anything digital. I've
Yep.
lost songs that I have downloaded. Like it's crazy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that at the end of April. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely buy your media. It's weird because like I am somebody who I'm kind of the opposite, where like I like to play it fast and loose, and I've just sort of abandoned buying physical media, which one day is going to bite me in the ass, and I am ready for that. Or maybe I'm not ready for that. But I think the other big news out of Disney is I think Disney has shifted their physical media production to Sony now. So I think Sony
mhm,
is now producing all of their physical media content.
yeah,
So yeah, get your Disney produced Star Wars content brought to you by Sony.
which
Doesn't
is
really roll off the
weird.
tongue, but it's a bit strange. But
It's a weird vibe, but
we're in this
at least we're
we're in this
getting it
yep.
in
Hmm.
some way, shape, or form. I literally, yeah, exactly. It's bonkers, right, Mark? It's just insane. Um, Star
It
Wars
is
Throwback
strange.
says I'm behind on THR. I started over because I'm reading it in chronological order and didn't want to skip out on other storylines. I'm so excited to buy comics now. That's
Woof.
awesome.
So if you are looking to read the comics, a great deal that I actually just snagged because I'm psychotic and own everything High
All the
Republic,
things.
all the things, is that the Phase 1 Marvel Omnibus, the hardback one that dropped at $100, has been going down as low as like 55 or 60 on Amazon.
Oh, we
And
needs it.
listen, I don't love Amazon, but to get that many issues in a hardback Marvel release is totally worth it, and those things hold their value like crazy.
They do.
My Kanan comics are now like worth a freaking fortune.
Absolutely. So
So
worth it.
it's nice to have. Definitely,
Yeah.
if you have the extra cash, it's a good time to buy that one because
I
I'm
got the
glad I didn't
Kanan
pre-order it.
yeah, I got the Kanan hardcover, like the complete Kanan hardcover
Mhm.
for like, oh my god, it was on some book site for like insanely cheap. I think I paid like $20 for it. And this was recent. This was in the last year and a half. And then it sold out fast there, and then it got jacked up again to like over $100. And I'm like,
Yeah. Once they go
whoa,
out of
like how did I
print,
get lucky?
they get
Yeah,
real tricky.
it's always back and forth. But yeah, hopefully they release them soon.
Yeah.
Um, also, Mark says the Jedi Archive show on the VCN has been covering the High Republic comics, so make sure you delve into that with John and Mike and Bryce, and they'll talk about that on there.
Yeah, the comic book shops, listen, if you can find a good comic book shop, hold on to them for all they're worth. I got really lucky with the comic book shop up the street from me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the other big news, speaking of comic books, holy moly, I forgot. Star Wars Unlimited comes out on Friday. So if you did any of the pre-release events, you may have gotten some decks. So I got my deck through a pre-release event, but I'm going to be participating in some of the open play games at my local comic book shop.
All right, girl.
To play Star Wars Unlimited, which is going to be hilarious because the last time I played a card game, I was not this age. So it's been a minute. And I am very excited. It's been fun to open up the packs and to see what characters I get. There's lots of Rebels content in there. So, like, if you're a
Yeah.
Rebels girly, there's lots of great cards. Even if you just want to collect them, I've gotten a couple of really great Rebels cards. And yeah, so it's going to be fun. I have no idea what I'm doing. Everybody seems to like the gameplay, but they officially launch on Friday. So if that's your
Exciting.
thing, go sit around a table and throw some cards down. It's going to be great. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I don't
Yeah,
barely
but
even
you
read
know what?
cards.
That's how you learn. Everybody's a noob until they learn. So
It's going to be great. I
just
love it.
roll with it. You're fine. Totally fine.
I'm going to until somebody tells me I'm rolling with it wrong. It's going to be great. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay. One last merchandise release, and then I swear we're going to start talking about Battlefront and
Okay,
Versio.
so today, Hot Toys released via Sideshow Collectibles or Sideshow.com, Balin Skull and Shin Hati in 6-scale figure form from Hot Toys. They dropped today. Oh my god, the costume design, the cut and sew on these figures is straight out of Shauna Tripchick's heads and onto the actual figure form. It's so cool. The likenesses of Ivana Sakno and Ray Stevenson are spot on. I absolutely will be getting these. I have actually already pre-ordered Shin Hati, and I just need Balin. I'm just waiting for a little more rewards
So
points to get him. But yeah, you've seen them. They're just stunning, absolutely stunning, and it's the perfect tribute to Ray Stevenson. This is what I was hoping they would do because let's face it, the only person that I think they haven't done is the Night Sisters and Morgan Elsbeth. They've done Merrick. Oh, and Professor Hu Yang. Those are the only ones that they haven't done. Everybody
yeah,
else
they really have. They've
covered.
done everybody.
Even like Padawan Ahsoka, which was recent and also spot on. So
the thing is, I think they know there's a lot of money to be made there.
yeah.
And I joke all the time because, like, it's no secret that I'm not a fan of the Ahsoka show, but my God, it has saved me so much money not being invested in that show. I ordered,
Because
like, my knee-jerk reaction to order the Sabine. So I ordered the Sabine, Hera, and Chopper
yeah,
Hot Toys.
That was the first requirement. I had to.
It was a knee-jerk reaction for me. There's a little part of me that like regrets it, but doesn't want to lose my deposit. So now I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it. It's fine. But yeah, as soon as I started releasing everybody else, I'm like, whew,
and
Mark
Ezra.
saved from I
Where's Ezra? We're asking this question again. Where's Ezra?
Literally again. Yeah, listen, I loved the casting on that one. If I, in the spirit of say something nice, I did love that casting.
Yeah.
I don't see myself purchasing that.
Okay.
I love it for everybody else. Don't get me wrong. I love it for everybody else.
It's entirely possible they'll go the route of what they did with the Clone Wars, which is, they made it kind of like a mix between animation and live action. And they did it with Bad Batch too. They just used Tamora Morrison's face on the Bad Batch, which is incredibly cool, but also slightly
appropriate.
jarring because
Yeah,
you
I
got
mean,
like
it makes sense.
you get
Now imagine if they
skinny,
did Omega like
sickly.
that.
So I feel like them releasing Padawan Ahsoka is kind of a gateway. It's like, oh, we can successfully do a child now, like do a
Yeah.
child figure. So we can extend that with Omega. And when, yes, we also need to talk about Bad Batch. We will
Oh,
get there.
yeah.
We, I feel like once you get that ground point and like it's successful, it's like, okay, we can do other children in the Star Wars universe, like young Leia. Um,
Oh, she'd be so cute.
yeah,
Oh.
and also obviously Omega. So I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
Take Hunter. Sorry, it's
Ika!
anytime I hear Omega, it's like brain has two droids fighting in my head, and they're all yelling in Omega's voice. Take Hunter.
So Bad Batch
Anyway,
this week. What are your thoughts?
my thoughts are that I haven't watched it.
Oh, okay. So we'll hold off on discussing it.
I haven't. So yeah, I mean, if you watch the Omega episode we did, you know where I kind of stand with the Bad Batch. It's it's not for me, and that's the beauty of Star Wars, right? Is that we've said it
Star
before,
Wars
and
is
we'll
for
say it
everyone.
a million times on the show, is that there is an entry point for everybody on Star Wars. And I
Mhm.
actually think that's a perfect transition to start talking about Iden Verso, because we both have kind of unique relationships to Iden Verso.
Mhm.
Um, but like, for me, the Bad Batch didn't do it. And I invest my Star Wars energy into the books and comics, whereas other people might say, you know what, the books and comics aren't for me, and I'm really deeply invested in the Bad Batch. And I love that. And I love that
Yeah.
there truly is an entry point for everybody, which is why I will never shit on whatever is somebody's like whatever somebody's Star Wars passion is, because there are so many entry points in it. And I think that's beautiful. And I know as we were talking about this show, I remember when Ash was like, we're going to do a Night Versio show. And I was like, we're going to do a what? Because a lot of depth perception issues, hence the glasses, where video games are actually really, really hard for me. And I remember when I joined the VCN, I don't remember who it was. They were like, yeah, this is Jamie. She's our video game girl. And I was like,
Wait, what?
me? No, not me. I played Squadrons, and like literally played Squadrons for the first time with a visor, and promptly lost my lunch afterwards because I
Oh
had such depth
man.
perception issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
So games like Battlefront are actually really hard for me, but as somebody who's invested in Star Wars, I really want the story, especially with Iden, because she is such a fascinating character, and she's such a complex character and such a unique character in Star Wars that I really wanted that story. So while other people around me play the game, which I know, Ashley, is sort of how you have experienced Battlefront,
Yeah.
I was like straight to YouTube, and it was like, yes, inject those cutscenes straight into my veins. Let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my roommate tended to play more of like the player versus player online gaming perspective. So I went in and learned the cutscenes and um just kind of got a feel for things. Um yeah, who was among us that
Whomst.
did the same thing? But
Whomst. Tell
but
us.
whom's among us? So yeah, I didn't she's a very interesting complex character because I feel as we were talking about in the pre-show, oh, Iden has kind of been everywhere while a lot of things has been going on. And to have her survive as long as she has, um, as an imperial officer is like incredible. And without going into hiding and being dastardly and working behind the scenes, like she's actually been on the front lines and still survived. So that was an incredibly unique um difference that made her different from other imperial officers. I'm looking at you, Moff Gideon, and
uh,
and all the
Iden's
rest.
also interesting because like she really knew no other life aside from the Empire. Being the
Yeah,
the child of like an imperial admiral, and her mother, I think, was like a propagandist, I think, for the Empire.
yeah,
I can't remember the specifics. I was kind of skimming through Wikipedia just to refresh my memory on some of the details there, but like, she really knew no other life from the Empire. So for her to enter like the Imperial Academy on Coruscant, and for her to really, um, jump into the imperial the military feet first, I mean, there was no question that that's what she would do, and of course embracing that and becoming a top tier pilot. And I think even like I think she has the like most uncontested kills in a tie fighter, which never got bested. So I mean, she was
Yeah.
obviously an incredible fighter, obviously an incredible pilot. If you know me, you know I have a soft spot for pilots. I love pilots, and you know, especially jumping into like the X-wing books and in the Legends books. Like I love the pilot stories. So
Jump into an X-wing, blow shit up.
or in the case of Iden, jump into a TIE fighter and blow even more shit up. So she survived, to Ashley's point, she survived the Death Star. Literally was at the Death Star, was stationed at the Death Star, was a pilot at the Death Star. She survived the Death Star by chasing a Y-wing, and she was like way out of orbit from where the Death Star blew, and that's how she kind of survived. Which I think is kind of a neat way to skirt around that, because that's obviously such an important part of her career, was surviving the Death Star. But like, she was so tenacious and so determined to take down her mark that she managed to save her own ass by not getting blowed up.
Yeah, imagine coming back to that and being like, oh crap.
Well, this is awkward.
Yeah. So first of all, it's probably one of the most. We know our TIE pilots. We know the TIE Pilot Academy. We've seen it at work in Rebels. We've seen it, throughout Battlefront. They're very, like, you have to be the best of the best to be a TIE pilot. And for her to earn that rank, and, not very many women did, it was incredible. And she certainly, and you can say nepotism with her father, and her mother, as you said, was a propaganda artist and was very prominent in the Empire with getting the message across. So her rise within the Empire and to become the leader of Inferno Squad, it was just kind of like, oh, well, this is a given. This is who she is. This is what she was brought up around, and it's completely expected of her.
I think her survival with that too, though, is also worth mentioning, because TIE fighters, TIE ships, like the actual ship itself, has like no shielding, which pretty much means it can't really take a hit. A TIE gets hit, and that's pretty much it. At least during the age of the Empire. I can't really speak to the sequel trilogy ones. I don't know as much about them, but like, TIE pilots were highly expendable because, their ships get hit, and that was kind of it. So I think it speaks to her skill and her determination and her, passion for being a TIE pilot that she did survive this long, because, man, lots of TIE pilots just don't make it. So she manages to survive the Death Star. She goes back to Imperial Coruscant to basically reconnect with her dad, who's an admiral in the Navy, the Imperial Navy, and she gets thrown back out. What's the next mission she's on? She's on oh my god, my brain just totally shut down.
So
I made myself a little timeline.
So according to this, she she participated in the Battle of Endor. So we talked about that. She saw the destruction of the second Death Star and Operation Cinder. That was something.
Oh yeah, Operation Cinder. Which, listen, my brain is so full of things right now, and honestly, like,
you're walking encyclopedia right now, Jamie.
No, my brain is so full of things, but also like it speaks to kind of her career, because like she's literally been everywhere. So it's like a matter of kind of figuring out where she fits in. So she ends up being sort of involved with Operation Cinder, which is the Empire's way of kind of recreating itself in the event that something like this should happen and the Empire is, not doing so great. So she ends up getting involved with that. And then in order to kind of continue collecting information, and in order to kind of continue serving the Empire, she makes it look like she has defected from the Empire to get adopted by the New Republic. Oh yeah, the Dreamers came first. Oh my god, she's literally been everywhere. Yeah, the Dreamers came first. So the Dreamers were the remnants of oh my god, brain, do the thing. Saw Gerrera. That's the word I wanted. Yes. They were the remnants of Saw Gerrera's gang. And he has information that she wants. So she's like, all right, well, we're going to just sort of get involved.
By the way, she was on Jeddah when that Death Star blew it up.
She sure was, but wait, it gets better because if we talk about like the 6 degrees of where she is at any given moment, the whole thing with the Dreamers and infiltrating the Dreamers, she ends up seeking out Mentor, and Mentor has kind of like become the leader of the Dreamers because Saw
Yeah.
Gerrera went ahead and got himself all blowed up. Spoiler alert. She gets involved with the Dreamers to seek out Mentor to get the information that she wants, and who's Mentor? Lux Bonteri.
Can you believe it?
You know,
That
when you're
guy.
just like going through Star Wars and you're like, oh, we're never going to see this character again. And then you're like, what?
Yes, Mark.
Clone
Absolutely.
Wars. Yeah, the Clone
She was
Wars.
in
That's that guy from the Clone
KFC,
Wars.
Endor, and Jakku. Sorry,
He
I'm
was
just saying.
the senator from Onderon from
Yeah.
the Clone Wars, and he was kind of a douchebag in the Clone Wars, and plot twist, he's
Ugh.
still kind of a douchebag here.
He growed up so much.
He did grow up so much.
Yeah.
he ungrowed up.
Ugh, despicable. Anyway, yeah, but she's like Marcus said, she was on Scarif, she was on Yavin, she was on Endor, she was on Jakku. She fought at the Battle of Jakku. She witnessed Alderaan getting blown up, and according to what was said, Grand Moff Tarkin made sure that everybody who was on board the Death Star had to witness Alderaan being blown up, and to like, okay, well, this is what happens to your planet if you fall out of line. And imagine
so funny
that.
you say that.
Yeah.
So witnessing Alderaan get blown
Get blowed up.
becomes important, and I think it's actually an interesting sticking point because I remember, here's the thing, I'm gonna put a pin in that. To have a character like Iden Versio who goes through all of these character changes, I think there was a lot of knee-jerk reaction because Iden's sort of big moment in Battlefront 2 is that after deflecting from the Empire to join the New Republic to get information and then being like, psych, I'm actually still an Imperial remnant, she goes back to the Empire. The Empire's like, oh, hey, so things aren't going well for us. We need to do another strike to sort of show how fierce and ferocious we are. We're going to go ahead and blow up another world. And we need to demonstrate to all these Imperial remnants that it doesn't matter how high up the food chain you are in the Empire. We're still okay with blowing up your home world. So her dad, who's an Imperial admiral who still has survived everything, they go and they blow up her home world and her dad's home world. And it takes a couple more missions, like even after that, so that she's witnessing that like the Empire doesn't really give a shit. She saw Alderaan blow. She's now witnessing her own homeworld blow, and she's like, "Oh, I still serve the Empire. Everything's great." And then kind of does a quick 180 where she's like, "You know what? I really need to be on the other side. Like, I need to be supporting something a little more humane, which is the New Republic at that point." So she does this big 180, and I think that's where a lot of people kind of had a sticking point where they were like, well, if she witnessed two planets being destroyed, how come that wasn't enough to get her to switch gears?
Yeah.
But like, so she joins the New Republic, which is great. We love that for her. And she joins the New Republic in earnest. She ends up marrying like her longtime partner from the Inferno Squadron.
Delmico.
Yeah.
Hottie.
They lay low for a little bit, as one does after all is said and done, and she's joined the New Republic and is trying to play it straight now. She's doing good.
Yeah.
And then her husband gets swiped. I can't really remember what happens to her husband. Yeah, he gets kidnapped, right.
He gets kidnapped.
He gets kidnapped. She has a kid. She and her kid are like, okay, well, we need to go find him.
Yeah.
And yeah, that ends up being a big chunk of the plot for Battlefront 2.
Yeah. I have to say the motion capture for these characters is just spot on. Janina Gavankar, most people know her from yes. Oh my god, absolutely.
She's literally just trying to save people from her home world.
Yeah, like smuggle them
and
out.
Her dad.
And her stubborn ass dad. I have to say,
her dad's like going down with the ship. Like, yeah. All right.
Oh, I was yelling at the screen when I was watching that. I was like, "Get off! Go with your daughter!" Like,
I think it's a great juxtaposition though, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like I think about scenes like that and I'm like, you have two generations there, right? And the older generation is not going to change his allegiance to the Empire. And he's going to go down with the ship because he believes that that's what he has to do, but he still, even despite that, he still tells his daughter like, go, like go. And he does kind of like help save some of them,
Yeah.
but I just think it's such an interesting juxtaposition because like he had
Mhm.
every opportunity to survive and chose not to.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
rare for, like, Imperial admirals and stuff like that, because 'cause we've seen some cowardly ones, like,
I mean, yeah,
absolutely
they all
cowardly.
look out for themselves. And there's
Yeah.
always like some weird twisted like, "Oh, but if I survive, I'm helping out the empire." I'm like,
Are you,
I
though?
guess. I mean,
Um,
sure."
so having, we'll backtrack a little bit, but having, Janina Gavankar from The League, she played Shiva on The League, and also Luna in True Blood, she's a big time gamer, and have her be front and center in this was amazing, and it brought a lot of heart to Aiden, like, through the years, even from young to old. Um, I think one of the most difficult things for me to learn about Aiden, watching all this, was the fact that her mother, what seriously was kind of like, "You're dead to me," when she thought that Aiden had defected to the Empire the first time, and her father actually, even though he's kind of forbidden to tell Imperial missions and break the code there, his wife was really sick and she was dying, and he made sure that she knew that Aiden was still an Imperial officer before she passed, and, you know, regardless of how estranged Aiden was from him and her because of it, because it was kind of like, very similar to Sabine Wren and Ursa Wren. Like, "Oh, you're a traitor to us all," but it's like, "No, I left to help you," kinda thing.
Yeah.
Um, so that was very reminiscent of that, but, uh, when her father told her what that he explained to her mother, and she just kinda got to make peace with her father in that moment because of it, because it's like, "Okay, my mother died knowing, like, she didn't hate me after all, like, she knew the truth." Like, even though that's not who I am now, like, she kinda knew what was going on, and that gives me a better perspective on things. So it was kinda heartbreaking.
What I love so much about this character, so I as I started the show saying it had been a long time since I had really even thought about Battlefront. Like I had to really go back over the last week and kind of like do some refreshers and watch some videos because it had been a while since I had invested any time in this. And for those of you who know from watching other shows, I have been uh rereading a lot of the Legends books. And after rereading some of the Legends or reading some of the Legends books and then rewatching some of these scenes, she actually gives me a little bit of Mara Jade in a
Mhm.
lot of ways, where
Yeah.
she's so fiercely devoted to the empire and like that's all she's known and her family has brought her up in the empire and it really is kind of like a family affair, right? And she starts to sort of see another way and is kind of stubborn about it, but like kind of starts to see another way and then ultimately ends up joining the other side. So I think there's a lot of nuance there. And I know a lot of people didn't love the fact that like the tipping point for her to join the New Republic was what it was. But I I think war is kind of a tricky thing. And when you've been so conditioned, I guess, for lack of a better word, to just see destruction and see war and like that's your life and that's sort of what's normal for you. Um, seeing Alderaan blow may not have been a huge emotional thing for her because she may have just been like, okay, well, Empire's doing what the Empire's going to do. Good job there, guys. Like, let's move on to the next one, you know? Like,
That's what
we like
happens
to
when you
think
go
as,
against us, kinda thing.
well, but we like to
Yeah.
think as like decent, moral human beings that obviously that's horrific and wrong. And I think Star Wars fans for generations have looked at the destruction of Alderaan and been like, oh my God, this is horrible. And it's certainly been covered in tons and tons of content.
Mhm.
But we also haven't been conditioned for our entire lives to work for, to be military cogs for the empire. So
Yeah.
um
And
I
it kind of, like, echoes today, like, you got people who are, like, conditioned to, because, "Oh, my entire family is, voting this way, or my entire family is voting this way, and I'm just gonna go along with it. Like refusing to do the moral homework and the groundwork for it, and just kind of going with what you know because it's all around you all the time, and you're so indoctrinated into it. So yeah.
Yeah, and Reynolds says, maybe
Ugh.
she was in shock. Like, sure, like absolutely. I think
Yeah.
that's a hugely underexplored topic from the imperial side. We see, I think it gets covered a little bit more in the books, but like we see I think the best representation in visual media is really Rogue One, and maybe a little bit of Andor.
Yeah.
Um, Seeing how these characters react to these horrific experiences and sort of how it shapes them, and it's not even like you don't gradually sort of grow into a lot of these roles. I feel like it's just sort of thrown at you, and it's just like you have to react to it, and
Adapt and
sometimes the
survive.
reaction is
Yep.
just shutting down, right? Um, so
uh,
what I love about this character is that when she does finally turn, she jumps ship to the other side. That's not the end of her story. She still, even then, continues to go on and serve in huge and meaningful and impactful ways. I mean, she makes it all the way to the Resistance.
yeah. And like, you know, fighting with Poe Dameron, being at the Battle of Jakku. um it's
She whips a Star Destroyer out of hyperspace.
like,
We love to see it.
excuse me. Oh yeah, absolute queen. Oh, hey Peter. It's just the amount of growth, and she's like, okay, well, the Empire has taken my husband and my daughter's father. um she raises her daughter um to realize that, okay, the Empire is bad. Like, this is bad. They are doing things. They have no qualms about destroying lives, even after all these years of Dell being loyal to the Empire and fighting alongside her for the Empire. They had no qualms about killing him.
Mm.
And she realizes then the full weight, and it's weird that it gets to that point for her to kind of like wake up a little bit and get Zay out of there, and um raise her to be a rebel actually.
Mm.
And I think that was probably the thing that made me the most happy, is that switch. Granted, it came at a price, as most things do in Star Wars, but
And I
oh,
think it is sort of the ultimate fulfillment of as
character arc.
I'm actually thinking Star Wars throwbacks. That might be my friend Anna, if that's who it is. I just feel
Yeah.
awkward being like, yeah, Star Wars throwbacks is saying. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Anna. Um, I do feel like it's the kind of the culmination of what her father wanted. So she deserves to live in peace, which she does get. She gets her peace, she gets her family. She does leave. And then her survival, hey girl, her survival is really dependent on you know, her almost begrudgingly, I guess, joining in the resistance. And then ultimately dying for the resistance as one does. But I mean, they had to close that loop because she couldn't really appear in any of the movies, I guess. So they were like,
Yeah.
oh, let's kill her off. Um, the other thing that we haven't talked about with Iden Versio, and I'm shocked that I've made it this long without talking about Iden Versio because we all know that I am a sucker for a merch bait droid. Okay, here's the thing. I'm actually really afraid of probe droids, like secretly, like super duper afraid of probe droids.
They're
Like
scary.
the scene in Rise of the Resistance where the probe droid comes up, don't like that. Absolutely freaks me the hell out. However,
And you're right there, and it's just like, no.
don't like that. I think it's the legs. It's like the little spidery legs because I
Yeah,
was afraid of them
they're
in
very spidery.
yeah, I was really afraid of them on Hoth too. Like when they first appear on Hoth, I was like, don't like that. Anyway, her droid is not a probe droid, little Dio over there. What I love about Dio is that he fits on her back and he reminds me of an identity disc from Tron, and he's so cute.
Yes.
I
So
just
cute.
every time I see him, I'm like, he's
I
gonna
need
glow.
one. I need one bad, and I need him to make like the little voice. Like,
Here's the thing. I don't want one because he reminds me too much of a probe droid. But it is really funny when he kind of just sort of like folds in and just connects to her back. I love
yeah.
that. I don't know. I love a
And
good
we
droid.
kind of see that with the seventh sister in Rebels too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
her little probe puppets, her little
Yeah,
probe dogs,
the little buddy that ends up on the back.
probe chihuahuas.
Um the animation The other big thing with her, obviously, she's a beautifully designed character. I will also say that watching the cutscenes with her do really feel very cinematic.
Yeah,
And they actually feel really
beautiful job.
clean. Sometimes you kind of get the whole like uncanny valley eyes, which are a little bit weird, but watching the cutscenes from Battlefront is actually really enjoyable. So if you haven't done that, I strongly recommend it. A bunch of people on YouTube have already strung them together, so you can basically just watch like a whole
Yeah.
movie.
Battlefront
Um,
2 walked so that Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor could run.
yeah, you know what? That's a really good way to put it, because Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor both have really beautiful cinematic cutscenes. So yeah,
Chef's
yeah,
kiss.
they are. Mhm.
Absolutely. The
Um,
cosplay. Now, I've seen a bunch of people, like men and women, cosplaying as Iden Versio at conventions. Um, I have to say, I may be a little biased because she's a friend, but Ray Kennex, the
oh yeah.
cosplayer, does a stunning Iden Versio. And I actually have a picture of her. My friend David picked me up a loft cat from Galaxy's Edge when they first came out, and we were at San Diego Comic Con. And she came by the table dressed as Iden, and she took a photo pulling my loft cat out of her helmet, like.
No-
So it was really cute, and I just love seeing how both men and women, whether you keep the helmet on or whether you're cosplaying another member of the Inferno Squad, um, it's just universal and it was embraced immediately. Like there was no one, at least that I saw during that time, no one being like, "Oh, she's a Mary Sue" or anything like that. Like they fully embraced this character, and I absolutely loved it.
And honestly, like that's refreshing, because I
Yeah.
know even in prepping for the show, I kind of had to wade through some of the nonsense of like, oh, here, like 10 reasons why Iden Verso isn't as great a character as we love. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go through this anyway, because like I don't know, I just feel like the fact that it's like, oh, and she's a female TIE fighter, like, okay, like, yep, she's, and we love her for it. Like, we're not gonna go down that path, because I feel like, especially in the video game universes,
Mhm.
that's a lot more rampant.
Yeah, it's a lot more
um,
common, but I feel like the sacrifices that she made both as a child of the empire, a literal child of the empire, and seeing the cost that it took on the people around her, like the division that she had with her parents and then losing her partner to the empire. Um she's had such a believable, of all things, something that we don't really get to see too much in these video games, a believable story arc, and it was refreshing. It was
well,
absolutely
and
refreshing.
I obviously can't go a show without talking about a book. So there is a
Yes, I know which one you're
there
talking
there is a
about.
book. uh oh my god, I think the name of the book is just Inferno Squadron. It's
Yep.
Christy Golden wrote it. So
Yes.
Christy Golden is really popular right now because she also wrote Dark Disciple, which we've talked
Mhm.
about quite a bit on this show. But she wrote the book that kind of gives us more of the context and really more of like the black and white, I guess, story of Iden Versio, and specifically about the Inferno Squadron. It's there. It is. Yeah, I've seen that artwork literally everywhere.
Yeah.
It's on my list, but like right now, my list of books is like 20,000 pages or something like that. It's
It takes place immediately after the events of Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, and it is the second book in the Star Wars Battlefront tie-in novel series following Battlefront Twilight Company.
oh, you know what? Sorry, I'm just like thinking of like ways that I want to read this now. I I want to
Yeah.
read that, and then I want to roll that right into my reread of the Alphabet Squadron.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
feel
that
like
would
that
be
would be some
perfect.
quality Project Cinder or Operation Cinder.
Yeah, so it's
That would be some
basically covers,
quality reading.
Iden as a TIE fighter pilot, protecting the Death Star from the rebels at the Battle of Yavin. Um,
Oh yeah, that's what I'm reading. I'm gonna do
yeah.
it that way.
So yeah, and it's her with the Dreamers and the remnants of our Guerrera's rebels and uh
Oh,
Lux Bonteri.
no, 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 no. Okay, wait. I'm gonna read. I'm sorry. I'm like going through this in my brain now. I'm gonna read
I love
Star
this.
Wars Catalyst, which takes place before Rogue One,
Yep.
and then I'm gonna watch, and then I'm gonna read. Oh man, this is gonna be so good. I'm gonna read Catalyst, and then I'm gonna read Rebel Rising, and then I'm gonna watch Andor, and then I'm gonna watch Rogue One, and then I'm gonna read that, and then I'm gonna go into the Outfit Squadron. Shit, that's
Dang.
gonna be a good week.
Write that down. A week?
I'm gonna.
That'd be
Yeah,
a
oh yeah, I
month
can
on my
listen.
end.
For those of you keeping track of my Legends read, I set myself like a really kind of like lame for me goal of like 36 books this year. Yeah, I'm on book 20 for the year.
She's not gonna, and it's only March, kids. It's only March. Jamie
Yeah.
is killing it.
So yeah, that sounds like a quality week of content for me.
There you
I'm gonna
go.
be
Write that
sad
down.
the whole time, but like,
But you know what?
wait a minute. When does Andor season 2 come out? Hang on, not till next
End
year.
of this
No,
year. Yeah, Stellan Skarsgård mentioned that it'd be end of this year, early next year. So we have time.
maybe that's what I'll do. Is I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna set myself an alarm in my phone.
Well, you don't have to. It's recorded, so you can just go back and be like, "What did I say?"
I'm gonna like put this in my calendar on my phone of like when I need to start this whole journey. And then by the time Andor season 2 comes around,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like deep in my sad girl Star Wars content, and it's gonna be good.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
good. I have to see if she appears in any other books, because like I know she's like casually mentioned in other books and stuff, but I'm like,
Let's see. I think that is the only
I think that's like the only one.
that she's in, because it's the Twilight Company has going back here, blah blah blah. Let me go back. Why is this giving me so much crap?
I don't know, but I love when a good reading list comes together. So like this is that's my favorite part of I think that's like what I love so much about Star Wars is you can tie together so many different forms of media and get like such a great like little
You can
snippet of the galaxy.
exactly. But the thing that I love about it is if we didn't read that book, we still have this game. So it's like it's
Right.
pieces of a pie, but it's still good pie.
It's still, I mean, can't go wrong, right?
pie.
You can't go wrong with a good pie.
Yeah.
But like there's another t-shirt for you, y'all.
Can't go wrong with a good pie.
Full of
Star
stupid
Wars is a pie.
But it's true, and I think that's such a good sort of message for this episode specifically, because like neither Ashley or I would consider ourselves, I don't want to speak for you, so obviously if you feel differently, like let me know, but like neither of us are really aggressive gamers. And I mean, I told you I can hardly play video games just because of how my stupid broken eyes work, but like
I kind of tapered off at like PlayStation 2.
Yeah, but like
Sorry,
the stories are still so important, and I think for those of us who are really invested in great characters, like we don't want to miss out on the Iden Versios or the Cal Kestises or any of the other. I mean, for us especially, like we're diehard Harrison Dula fans, and seeing her come back in Squadrons was so important. So I think what I'm grateful for with the Star Wars games is that we do get these beautiful cinematic moments that feel like watching movies, even though like we know they're not movies. And we still get these impactful stories.
It's clear that each actor takes it seriously. It's not like, oh, I'm just cashing a paycheck. Like they put their 100% all into every bit of storytelling and stuff, and it's real to them. And because they do that, and with Cameron Monaghan especially, and Janina Gavankar, it breathes. These cutscenes breathe, and as Anna said earlier, like we just sit here and sob because life-changing things happen. Anna says she would love to see more Iden merch, honestly, and I feel like Star Wars does circles where they just realize, there are some fans of this when they were younger, and they're starting to get older, so let's just kind of market it that way.
Except none of us have money as we get older. They all think that we have money as we're getting older. Joke's on them. We don't have money. So just put it in Tiff's ear. Tiff will make something for you.
Yay!
Make me some Iden.
Please,
she's gonna kill me.
Up. Oh my god, I got in.
I have to get ahead of that.
I still have to unbox my ghost bag. I've been saving it so I could record it, so I could feel better first and hear me talk when I open it.
I have the prototype one literally sitting in front of me.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I cannot wait to unbox it. But Anna wants to know, is Iden's daughter in anything else unless she was supposed to be in Battlefront 3 before EA scrapped it?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
so I don't think so. Here's the thing. I feel like if with EA scrapping Battlefront 3, I wonder if they would take the story for Battlefront 3 and like throw it into like a limited run comic or
I'll take anything.
Throw it into a book or something. I mean,
Zay is awesome, and
I don't know. Is she? I'm gonna check because I don't think she's in anything else.
She fought alongside her mom, and I feel like she's kind of like that version's Jason Syndulla. So
She is that generation's
yeah, she's just like
Jason
Jason Syndulla.
Syndulla.
But for Iden merch, I actually got the first piece of Iden merch. Um, when Janina Gavankar was at E3 a few years back, I think it was in 2017, she came out wearing a custom Iden Versio inspired commander dress by Elhofer Design, Katie Elhofer. And Katie had put it up for sale in one of her sample sales, and I jumped on that so freaking fast. So I have the original Janina Gavankar Iden Versio commander dress, the one that launched this amazing design for Elhofer. It's my favorite design dress. I honestly have a commander dress like hanging on my closet, a teal version right now. But I have it in my closet. It's in a garment bag. I didn't want to like rip it out, but it does. It's just the coolest thing ever, and I'm so happy. Like I didn't get the belt. The belt was custom made, but it's got the shoulder stripes and stuff on the side of it, and it's just stunning. Red lining. Uh, it's my favorite piece, and I was gonna bring it with me to Celebration Chicago when Janina was there. Mark was working for Tops at the time and got Janina to be there, and I was like, I would feel so dumb asking her to sign a dress, but it was the dress. So I was like, I don't know. And it was my first celebration, and I should have. So if she's ever at a con again, I'm doing that.
I mean, you should, and I feel like if you have something kind of unique to that. Sorry, I'm doing some reconnaissance right
Nope,
here as we are.
totally
I'm
fine.
listening. I'm
I'm
doing some
filling it in.
reconnaissance here. Uh,
But it's so good.
so
Oh yeah, I
I got all
really would have loved
excited
her. And
because I
Janina was
thought,
like the first one to like live stream a celebration event to all her followers on Twitch. Um, yeah. Elliot says he's playing Iden on Battlefront 2 online at the moment. Amazing. I'm excited for you.
okay,
I,
so Anna, according to this, and I would not put any stock into this, but it's been a second since I flipped through it. Allegedly, she's in Resistance Reborn,
huh.
which is it's a fairly recent novel. I'm trying to remember who wrote it.
Let's see.
Rebecca Roanhorse, whose work I actually don't know at all.
I've heard of her. She's good.
It wouldn't surprise me if she was in it, because I mean it's a Poe Dameron. It looks like it's a Poe Dameron led story, and I feel like there would be a lot of crossover there.
Yes.
So that's something that you can kind of throw in there. And then the only other real mention of Iden book wise is in this bad boy. Where
Yes.
there she, oh my god,
That
I
book
will never get that right.
that book
Yeah,
is
there she is.
amazing.
But she doesn't really appear in much more. The fact that I literally just had this sitting next to me is probably pretty embarrassing. But I'm like, it's fine.
Embarrassing. No, you're prepared.
I don't know about that.
We'll just go with that.
I don't know about that. But yeah, I would definitely love to see more, especially like, if we scrap Battlefront 3 and we're not going to get that story. It kind of feels to me like the story is probably already done, because you'd obviously have to kind of have something to work with in order to make some announcement and then to say, psych, we're canceling that.
Yeah.
So I always wonder what happens with these, like this story graveyard where all of these stories go to die, and I feel like they will get their moment in the sun. It just might not be in a video game. Maybe it'll be in a comic. Maybe it'll be in a
Or maybe it'll be tweaked so much it'll be our next favorite thing.
maybe. Or, even with these Disney Plus series, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't need a whole series about it, but like, I don't know, make her a supporting character in some other, adjacent story. I could be okay
You're
with
into
that.
animation. Like do like an adult geared animation. Like I love the fact that they have Young Jedi Adventures, but I think kind of going a little bit further like than Bad Batch, kind of maybe where Visions is, but like I said, a little more towards like the Adult Swim crowd. That would be fun to do
It
kind of like an Inferno Squad animated series. I'd be like, sign me the hell up.
Yeah. I don't know how I would want that story to be told. And honestly, like, I think they're going to be treading on some really careful water with the Acolyte coming out. And so insofar
Yeah.
as like dark stories go, and I think they're really going to need to see how the Acolyte is received before they go down a path
So excited.
that will be equally dark, or could be even darker depending on kind of how they spin it. So the one thing that we know about the Acolyte is that it's going to be a dark story, and I feel like with a story or a group of characters like the Inferno Squadron, um, you can't really hold anything back. And Zay is obviously not part of the Inferno Squadron, but having
Right.
her appear in um something with a resistance, I don't think would be
But
unheard
her
of.
parents, she is the child of the Inferno Squadron because both Dell and Aiden were the Inferno Squad.
Right.
And
Um,
I think that's ultimately very important too. So if they kind of have her coming to terms with the fact that their parents did all this, um, I think that'd be pretty fascinating.
she could be like Ben Solo and be obsessed with her grandfather who did all sorts of terrible things around the galaxy.
Oh my god!
Sorry. It's the first place my brain went. I was like, you were talking about
Wait
this,
a
and I was
Ben
like,
Solo.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. This sounds familiar. Wait a minute.
Damn it, Ben! What are you doing?
I don't know. I sometimes feel like those 3 movies were a fever dream.
Oh, I know.
I wake up and I'm like, wait, did this happen?
Did
Is
it
this
really?
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
Oh, I have a photo
oh,
of the Aiden dress, so you can kind of see it there with the pauldron.
oh yeah. You'll have to send it to me because honestly, I'm getting glare on the screen.
Yeah, trying to pull it back.
She
It's
fancy.
sun, but it's black with red lining, and you get the red stripes on the shoulder. So that's really cool.
Honestly, her pilot rig is pretty great, and honestly, I
Oh
know
yeah,
her helmet is very standard tie, but like I don't know, the whole look is very sharp, and everything with like the slick back hair and the braid that she kind of has later on. She's just a really well designed character, really sharp character, and I
I
yeah,
feel like Janina informs a lot of that because she's very beautiful. She's
yeah.
a stunning woman, and she's badass, and
The thing that
and
I
fully invested in this world. Like she's a big nerd like the rest of us, and she's a gamer, she's a Star Wars fan, and marry those things together, and I think that's just the best possible interpretation of the character you could possibly get.
and what I love about her design too is like especially when they do like close ups on her face and they do sort of those like tight shots on her face,
Yeah.
um, she she's very militant. Like her hair is always just like stick straight part down the middle, slicked back, perfect braid, like nothing,
Yeah.
not a hair out of place. And her face is very hard, and I think she's a beautiful character, but they didn't do a lot with like the traditional beauty with the long eyelashes and the extra makeup or anything. Like she is a hard military lady, but she is still a beautiful character. So again, from a design standpoint, we love to see it. So
So
oh yeah,
you
there's
can
Ray.
that's Ray with my loaf cat at Celebrate. Oh no, that's San Diego Comic Con 2019. Yes, 2019. Sorry, but it's like the fact that the design is there and it's easily copied, but it's also very feminine. Like it's got like a very we see it a lot when in today's military with military women being made to wear their hair like that, especially pilots, um, army infantry. Like they have to wear their hair slicked down and parted like that. Um, no facial, like no things in your face. It has to be off your neck, easily fit under a helmet or a hat, and I think that also informed a lot of her design too.
Yeah, Deidre too.
Yes, thank you.
Oh God, my body is so ready for Andor. I just
I know Mark is waiting for Dedra.
I I'm oh yeah, I'm so ready for Andor. Andor and the Acolyte are pretty much what's keeping me going right now for Star Wars visual media. I'm like, let's go.
Yes.
I am gonna be fully insufferable writing Star Tours. I don't want the other 2 scenes. I don't care about the small green bean child and his tin can father. I want my long suffering Cassian Andor.
Oh man.
Can we get wait a minute. Can we get
What if they have Marva on there?
don't do
Like
this
you get
to
a
me.
message from Marva.
Don't do this to me.
Oh, I will die.
Don't do this to
Disney.
me.
Don't do that.
Can we get wait a minute. Can we get Space Gabe's like very Jewish mother?
Oh no!
Okay, wait. Literally, the fact that like I to this day struggle remembering his name because I only ever refer to him as Space Gabe because he looks like Gabe from The Office. Did you ever watch The Office? He looks like Gabe from The Office.
He does.
And he kind of has like the same mannerisms and everything. But
I'm
like
sorry,
the real
Anna. I'm so sorry.
the real unsung hero of Andor is his mother, who makes sure that he eats breakfast, but then also nags him about getting a real job and, like, not being a failure to
Uh,
the family.
honestly, Mrs.
Mrs. Space
Mrs.
Game.
Fig, Mrs. Space Fig from Harry Potter, bossing her child around eating his space tricks or whatever. Yeah, she
Space
was
tricks.
space tricks. Yeah, that whole thing was really awkward. That's probably he's totally Gabe Reynolds. He's totally Gabe.
He is. I'm telling you, he's literally Space Game.
But I swear to God, if you get a message from Marva and being told to come to Ferrix, the daughters of Ferrix need your help, I'll be like,
Can the entire flight just be me throwing bricks at the Empire? That's all I want. I mean, sorry, Aiden, but I'm gonna stand there and throw bricks at the Empire.
dropping
I don't
discount bricks
know.
on the Empire one at a time.
Can we get BMO? Can he just vibe with R2 and 3PO?
Oh no, poor B.
Yeah.
If we have B, I will also cry because he's like Cassian. I'm like,
Yeah, listen. Yeah. Y'all
Maybe
thought
they're
it was
like
fun and
you.
games with the droids until the droids started making you cry. Yeah.
And he powers
Oh.
down because he's sad. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it,
Yeah, y'all thought it was
Gilroy,
fun
what
and
are you
games with the
doing
droids.
to me?
Tony Gilroy, listen,
rude.
I know y'all love Dave, but Tony Gilroy is he's my goat.
He's
I love him.
wrecking our feelings right now.
I love him. And honestly,
he's preparing to wreck some more because you think of we don't see these people in future Star Wars projects.
Oh yeah, listen, we all went into Rogue One and thought, for sure.
Do that
everything's gonna be fine.
The
and then we're like, wait a minute. Hang on, what's the story of Rogue One? Oh, that's right. This isn't gonna go well for any of them.
Oh no.
Here's the thing.
Oh my God.
We don't want that for a lot of reasons because frankly, I don't trust Disney guests to be well behaved with that kind of thing.
No.
So I don't know about One Way Out. The ship literally just crashes in the ocean. You just see all the prisoners flailing, trying to swim.
Oh my God.
We have too many. No, it can't be that.
Or you get like the message from like, okay, and that's another thing. Not only Ferrix, but you get the message from like Kino Loy.
No, absolutely not.
And be like,
absolutely
there was a prison breakout on Narkina 5, and it's like Kino Loy's last message. It's like, no.
Okay, first of all, he's not dead, so how dare you? Second of all,
we never saw the body.
We have way too many crash landings, like water landings in Star Tours.
Yeah.
So like I don't know about Narkina 5.
Water landing. I think I've been on Naboo. I've ridden Star Tours like 5 or 6 times, and I've been on Naboo like most of those times.
I'm gonna say it, and it's gonna live on the internet forever. The Naboo flight is literally the worst. It's Gunga. Gunga is literally the worst flight. I hate it more than anything. I hate it. I always like feel violent. That's the only flight where I ever feel like violently ill.
Because you crash, and it's just like, you're all disoriented from the crash.
It's the sea monster, the shaking with the sea monster. I don't know. We have clearly deviated, and we're like way over time at this point talking about Star Tours. But yeah, catch me. Let's see. When's our next show? No, we still have time. I'll report back as soon as I've ridden Star Tours enough to get all the new flights.
I'm so excited for you.
Usually what they do is like for the first like couple months of the new flights, like you're guaranteed at least one of them. So like when the flights came out for the sequel trilogy, like everybody went to Jakku. Like there was no randomization. Everybody went to Jakku just to experience it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that they do that, but they didn't introduce 3 scenes from 3 different kind of like points before. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to go for us. I don't know, man.
No, Reynolds.
I can't.
No.
I can't wait to see Rosario Dawson's contacts look in 2 different directions on Star Tours. That's going to be fun.
They made him better in Ahsoka. They really did. I have to say.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah, I understand.
It wasn't for me. Just 2 different directions.
I get it. Like her first ones were really bad. The newer ones were better. Yeah.
Sorry, Anna. They're going to zoom right in too, and that's all I'm going to see is they're just going to look in 2 different directions.
Don't look in the eyes. All right, guys. So, Iden Versio. Where would you rank her in your list of Star Wars heroines? Like, knowing what you know about the character. Gameplay, like physical gameplay aside, like actual story.
So I love her. I mean, I do. I think she's a great character, a very nuanced character with lots of different levels and layers to her. I think it's always amazing when you have a character that defects from one side to another, because there's always a really good motive there. I don't know that I can stack rank because I'm really bad at remembering how many like favorite characters I have, and I go through deep hyperfixations where I pretend that I'm married to a feral Jedi. So I'm gonna leave it at I really enjoy her. I do. I enjoy her.
Yeah. I kind
And
of put
you?
her I kind of put her where I think I would put her up there with Hera and Sabine for me.
That's like
Because
really high. Damn,
uh,
girl.
yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because I feel like she has a lot of character growth, and it's not linear. It's kind of in circles. You can tell she kind of like loses her path and has to
Okay.
backtrack a bit, and it's more human and more like embedded into the human experience. It's what you do. Like, okay, well, her path to the light was kind of like, took a couple
Lots of
detours
twists
into
and
the dark
turns.
side.
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah, you know,
and it was
as one
very
does.
complicated, and when you're driven by family motives and you're a product of how you were raised, it's so hard to break that family trauma and to grow, and I feel like Aiden's story arc fully captured that, and as you said, it's complicated, but that's what makes her so unique to me. And so with Hera being a daughter of freedom fighters and branching out to be a pilot on her own, with Sabine having her family also embedded in the Empire and her being forced to do unspeakable things for her family in the name of the Empire, just like Aiden, I kind of put them into this group of these women who have gone through horrible, unspeakable, traumatic things and still come out on the other side to do what's right.
Yeah.
So props to Aiden.
We love that. We love that.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so this was fun. This, I went into this episode actually feeling a little like, oh man, am I like really ready to have this conversation? But like, I always love these conversations because I feel like I
Yeah.
go in feeling one way and then leave the conversation being like, you know what, I never really considered that. So hopefully you guys feel the same too.
Yeah.
This was a fun one. Yeah, I enjoy a good Iden Versio or Iden Versio conversation. Ooh, we're getting to that hour. Getting to that hour. So
We
a
got
couple announcements
good
before
stuff
we
coming up on the VCN this week.
skedaddle. It's the Ashley Brienzo show here on the Virtual Cantina Network for the next week. What are y'all watching? What's
All
happening?
right. So we are watching episode 4 of The Bad Batch. So I'm filling in for Spencer. So you guys will have me with, I want to say it's Dave and sorry. I
This
knew
is where
it.
you say, and many
Yeah.
of your other favorite
And
hosts from the Virtual
many,
Cantina
yes,
Network.
they will be joining me on tomorrow night for the watch along. And honestly, this episode of Bad Batch is pretty tough. We got Keisha Castle Hughes from The Whale Rider, Oscar nominated actress. She's one of the Sand Snakes in Game of Thrones. Uh, Bringing it back to Pedro Pascal.
Oh,
Yeah, it's his nieces. Yes, Dave, me, and Mike. Oh, it's going to be fun.
oh, that'll be a fun show.
Love it. Okay.
All right.
So we're going to be discussing that. She's Emery. She is Omega's clone sister, and some crazy stuff happens. So can't wait to watch that with you guys. The Unifying Force is on Sunday. We have the Bad Batch after show on Friday night at midnight Pacific.
What?
Yes.
That's late.
For episode 5, yes.
Oh my god.
So they film it on the
Wow.
Thursday, and it will air on the Friday night at midnight. So
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
yeah, it's
Like,
fun, and
past my bedtime.
so it's John, it's Bryce, it's Mike, and they get to talk about it, and it's exciting. And so that will be on the Friday after show. Rebels Revisited. We have Skip filling in for Mark, who is going to sunny Puerto Vallarta this week. I'm very excited for him. So we're going to be doing a watch along as well. But it's been a good week. And the family vacation, make sure you guys get your tickets. There's less than 20 left. And make sure you get your hands on the racer, whether or not you're going, because those races are stunning and they're so well made.
Pay your bills. They're
Pay
gonna
your
come a
bills.
collecting soon.
Yes, the bounty's out. They're
The
coming.
bounty's out. Pay your bills. Yeah, and we will be back. Oh, and we have t-shirts too. I mean, I'm just saying. I bought the t-shirt of the
Yay,
stupid thing I
Reynolds.
said. There it
Yes,
is.
the Daughters of the Galaxy collection. So we have
Listen.
What Would Hera Do? Master, I Am No Jedi, and that really swanky
There it is.
Jamie's Pride and Joy. Freaky Force
Freaky
shit,
Force
y'all.
shit, y'all. We
You
love
know
Freaky Force
Spencer's
shit, y'all.
going for you, Reynolds. He's gonna go get you.
Yeah. They're gonna start banging on doors, so pay your bills.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with another lady to be announced.
To be
We
determined,
say that
but
because we don't actually know what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks.
if
2
you
weeks
have
is
any
really far away.
questions, if it's any like female characters you want us to go through, please let us know. We're totally.
Please don't send us Mara Jade and Dr. Afro. We know we're working on it.
We're getting to them. They're
getting
amazing.
there. We
Trust
know.
me, we're not missing them on purpose.
Yeah, we got some work to do. So
yeah, so send us your recommendations on Facebook. Put it in the comments. We're always around. Get us on the socials. Let us know what you want to hear or see.
yes, and we will see you in 2 weeks right here on the Virtual Cantina Network.
May the force be with you guys.
All right, y'all. May the force be with you. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what this is.
We're dancing.
Just a little dance until we're not live anymore. There it is.
Woo!